Hi, this is, American Vidiot, but today I'm here to talk about, Adam Wingard's and Simon Barrett's new horror movie, Blair Witch. Of course, I'm going to be discussing what I thought about the movie, but also, like, background information, like, about the director, about how, they marketed the movie, because I think that stuff is really interesting. In fact, it might even be a little more interesting than the movie itself. So before I get into the movie, I want to talk about Adam Wingard a little bit, and Simon Barrett. So a while ago, like a few years ago, I think they directed the movie You're Next, which was, in my opinion, an amazing movie. I think it was highly original. They did a great job directing it. I think it was one of the best indie horror movies. It showed that they had like amazing talent, and I really wanted to see what they would do next. And after that, I believe they did some short segments in some horror anthologies, like I believe VHS 1 and 2, and their segment that Adam Wingard directed, and both of those were my favorite. Absolutely love those short segments. And then after that, I believe he did Q in ABCs of Death. ABCs of Death is one of my favorite horror anthologies, and I thought his segment was pretty funny. I liked it a lot. I saw that, again, they had great talent, and I was loving everything that they were putting out. So that's about enough for them. They're like independent horror directors, but they're getting a little bit more well-known. And you don't know, you probably obviously know what the deal is with the marketing campaign with this. But if you don't, I'll go over it briefly. So basically, the movie was originally called The Woods, and they released a trailer, and I loved the trailer. I thought the trailer looked really cool for that movie, for The Woods. That was before I knew it was Blair Witch, of course. I was really excited to see that. And then I think just a few weeks ago, maybe more than that, but they, at Comic-Con, they announced that it was actually going to be Blair Witch 3, or Blair Witch 2016, whatever you want to call it. And that got people insanely excited to see this movie. Well, most people. And that was what the deal is with that movie. Everybody was talking about it. It was, as far as the campaign, like the marketing goes, it was pretty clever. Very well done. Like, one of the better marketing campaigns that we got for a horror movie for a while. I can't remember the last one. I know that, like, with found footage movies, or like any other horror movie, like The Conjuring or The Gallows or Paranormal Activity or whatever, they would show, like, actual footage of people in the theater, like, being like, or, like, screaming, to show how scary the movie was. And then, I think it was Paranormal Activity who originally did that. But they just kept doing it, and it just really got old, and you would just see that for every new horror movie. And this one did something different, and I think that's awesome and very clever. I, however, was not as excited for this movie as most people were. Blair Witch, the original, I loved. I thought that it was very influential. Well, I thought that it was a great movie. But even if you didn't like it, you can't deny how influential it was for horror movies. Like, it really was a game changer. In that, not only in the horror genre, but for that subgenre, mainly like found footage. Because it was intriguing. The idea was intriguing to directors. The thought that they could make a movie for almost next to nothing, and they could make a huge profit out of it. And then I think after that, the Book of Shadows came out, which was Blair Witch 2. And I could have a whole review for that movie. I don't want to go into that too much. I probably will at the end of this video, but I'll keep it brief. Basically, lots of people hated it. It did horrible. Nobody liked it, pretty much. And I was one of the few people, I might be like the only person really, who enjoyed that movie. I actually, honestly, I loved that movie. I know people say that it wasn't what the director wanted. It was what like the company tampered with it a lot, and it wasn't what the director was going for, and that obviously sucks. But I really loved the final product of the movie. I thought that they did a great job, and I really appreciated the direction that they were going in. Like, they were going in a different direction because it was smart. I'll talk about this later too for Blair Witch, but like, there's nothing else that you can do. If you do a sequel, you just do the exact same movie. And I appreciated what they did with that movie, and and then of course several years after, like this long time since even for not only the first one but also the sequel of Blair Witch came out, and this one was announced. I wasn't as to be honest, I wasn't as excited as most people were, for the sole purpose that I didn't know what they were gonna do with it. What could you do different, you know? That was my big concern with the movie. That's why I wasn't like, I didn't have high hopes for it. But the fact that Adam Wingard and Simon Barrett's name were attached to the film, and I think that was the only reason that I had any hope for the movie whatsoever. I think if it was any other name, any other person, like any other first-time director that was doing it, I would not expect anything. I wouldn't have any high hopes for it at all. I would still see it, of course, because it's Blair Witch 3. I mean, come on. But I just wouldn't expect it to be really anything special. So that's that. It was pretty great for what it was. I'll be honest, I really liked it. I didn't love it. In fact, there was a lot of things that I disliked. Probably more so than I did like. But because it was so well done, and that for what it was, very great. It was very well acted. It was scary. It was like overall like a good movie. So for those reasons, and Adam Wingard, of course, for those reasons, I enjoyed it. So I guess before I won't bash on the movie. I won't do that. I wouldn't. But before I go into my dislikes, let me go through like a list of things that I really did like. So first thing, most notably for me, was the acting. I thought for the most part there was a couple performances that were just not that great. Like, they were good, pretty much, but they were just a couple of them were just a little bland. But for the most part, I thought the acting, especially from the main girl, I can't remember her name. The main girl in the movie did a stellar job. Loved her performance, and I pretty much like 70 to 80% of the whole cast, or like even 90% of the whole cast, I really enjoyed. I thought that their performances were great, and at the very least decent. So that was cool to have at least good acting and good characters. Well, yeah, they're pretty likable characters, which was good. The movie surprised me because it was actually, like the first one, it was pretty scary. And I don't really get scared by these types of movies. I never have, really. The first one was probably the last movie that I saw that I legitimately, like, kind of freaked me out. And this one did the same thing, had the same effect, which was great. It was pretty scary. In fact, I saw it late at night in a dark theater, and then afterward I walked home at night, and I had to, like, drive home, and it was pretty scary. Like, I was freaked out and paranoid, which is awesome. I love it when movies are, like, actually scary. Another thing that I liked it's probably the last thing that I'll talk about, is the way it was shot. They used a lot of like different angles and way of shooting. Like they had a drone, like, and it would go up and you could see like the forest, and that was really cool. I loved those shots, and they even had like camera tree angles. Like they'd put a camera in the tree and you could see that, and they played around with different like styles of filming, which I thought was really cool and clever the way they did that, because original Blair Witch was just like a shot on video, like VHS camera, the whole way, and now you get like different technology and different ways of shooting, which is awesome. And I guess that's pretty much it for the likes. Like I said, overall, it was a very enjoyable movie. I think that you should see it if you are a horror fan, or if you are a fan of the original Blair Witch. Definitely go see it. But I'm about to talk about dislikes. Now, everybody's probably already heard this from like Rotten Tomatoes. Simon Barrett even posted about it on Twitter or whatever. And this movie is getting pretty bad reviews. And is that for a reason? Probably. Now, I really enjoyed the movie. I thought that it was highly enjoyable, and scary, and like very well done for what it was. But the biggest thing, and this like goes with my concern for before the movie came out. Basically, it's the same movie. It's the exact same movie as the original Blair Witch. Almost like shot for shot. Like, if they just like titled this movie The Blair Witch Project, and if they took out some different things like of the movie, I would think that it's like, oh my god, this is just a shot for shot remake. Like, what's the deal? But it's a sequel, and that's really upsetting. I was really thinking that they were going to surprise me with this, that they were going to do something great with it and do something different, and they didn't really do it. And that's not, depending on the way you look at it, that's not a bad thing, because if you loved the first one, you're going to enjoy this one, because it's the same movie. I mean, if you're using that logic. I do think that the things that I liked about it overshadowed that a little bit, which is good. And like I said, overall, I do think that you should check it out in the theater. I think it's a great experience, and a movie that I will probably be buying on DVD, just because it's Adam Wingard. I want to support them, and I like the movie a lot, and I'll probably rewatch it once it comes out. So that's the main problem. Now, if you're okay with that and you love the first one, go give it a watch, definitely. And just go support Adam Wingard, and Simon Barrett in general. Just go support them. They're super talented people, and you should definitely go support them. So before I end the video, I want to also talk about a couple other things that the movie did. Minor, of course, but I feel like I should talk about these. And one of them is the jump scares. I hate jump scares. Not because I get freaked out and I'm like, oh god, that's so scary, but mainly because they're cheap. They're super cheap. They're not scary at all, and anybody could do them. Really. And the first one did a great job with it. The first one had no jump scares at all, no music. How the first one worked so well is that you pretty much, when you were watching it, you knew that it was a movie, but there was this thing inside your head being like, this could be real. And what if it is? That's crazy, because it's done so well that that's going through your head, like, oh my god, could this be real? Is it? I don't know. The actors and the director did a great job using that. And with this one, even if it wasn't Adam Wingard and you were like a fan, you're like, oh, well, he's a director of movies, this is obviously a movie. If it wasn't him, like, if some, like, unheard of director and some unheard of actors, even then, you would know that it's a movie. And here's why. It's the jump scares. They don't fit the movie at all because it's a found footage movie, and how would they get the music in there? Because that's what a jump scare is. It's someone popping in front of the camera and loud music. You can't have one without the other to create a jump scare. You have, it's like 50% music and then 50% someone jumping in front of the camera. Pretty much, like, it's just a loud blare of music, and it gets you startled because it's really quiet, and then they just, like, blast this loud music. That's basically what a jump scare is. Really cheap. And they do that, and that makes no sense for them to have it. Not only are jump scares super cheap and not scary at all, but, like, it's a found footage movie. How would you get the jump scare in there? So that sort of takes away that aspect of the film, which didn't need it. What I want to talk about is, I don't want to go into spoilers. I'm going to be as vague as I can. But this is neither a dislike or something that I liked. It's just something that was in the movie. They showed a lot more in this movie than they did in the first one. In the first one, it was all up to your interpretation. And they did a great job at that. This one, though, was more, like, straightforward. Like, they just showed you what was going on, what was happening. They showed a lot more gore in this movie. It wasn't as much as, you know, You're Next. But, like, they had a lot more gore in this one than the original. That was cool. And they had some really, like, intense scenes, which I won't go into, but, like, that made me cringe, gritting my teeth, because some of those scenes were really intense. But depending on the way you look at it, if you really like simple, makes you think movies, then you're probably not gonna like the way that they do this one. But if you like, if you like movies that are more, they show you a little bit more, so you get a better understanding, then see this movie. So guys, overall, I'm going to give Blair Witch a 6.5 out of 10. I thought that it was a highly enjoyable movie. I will be watching it again. I still love Adam Wingard, and I'll still be seeing every movie that he puts out. And I think that this is a nice addition to the movie, to the movie series, even if it is a rehash of the original. So there it is, guys. Sorry that was long. This was my first review, so it's not professional at all, but hopefully you enjoyed. Give the YouTube channel a subscribe. Please go read some reviews on the website. The website is much better than the review that I did, trust me. But I will post more reviews. If you like this movie, if you like this video, please comment and like, and just support the channel. I'll be coming with more reviews if it does well. If you like this one. So that was my overly long review of Blair Witch. Thanks for watching.